Hey everyone, Richard Robbins here. Well, the numbers are in for the Calgary Real Estate Board for November. So I'm going to talk about November of this year opposed to last year. I'm going to talk about November of this year opposed to October of this year. But then I want to get into average sale price of all different property types. Something I've never done before, but I think you're going to find very interesting and helpful. So let's look at this. 2018, 2017 in November, you can see we did 1,172 sales. We did 1,410 last year. So obviously we're off here, okay, by a substantial amount, down by 16%. What does this mean? The pie is smaller. Let's face it, with what's going on with stress testing, interest rates, especially what's going on with oil right now in Calgary, that you can see your market's been weakening all year long, which means the actual pie is getting smaller. So for you, as a real estate sales professional, to do at least the same or more, you got to take a bigger piece of a smaller pie, which means you got to get better at what it is you do. Because you can see our pie is just smaller. Active listings up by 14%. 6,500 opposed to 5,600 the same time last year. So what does that mean? If our listings are going up, our sales are going down, what should be happening with months of inventory? What should be happening with pricing? Should be weakening, correct? Look at this. Here, last year at the same time we had 4 months of inventory. Where do I get that number? I take 1410, divide into 5683, gives me 4 months of inventory. This determines your price. This here is a balanced market. Here you're starting to move in or getting very, very close to moving into a buyer's market with 5.5 months of inventory. Now let's look at this. This is October, and then I'm going to show you what happened with your price from October to November. You can see October, our sales were down to 1172 from 1322. Okay, in October, this was November, which is down 11%. But we'll look at our active listings were down by 22%. So only had 5,600 compared with 7,300 in October. Now this is not unusual, is it? Because this is seasonal. Because think about it, less people start listing in November, so seasonal. December is going to be the same thing. So you can see what's going on. So what here should happen with our months of inventory? It got a little stronger, didn't it? We went down to 5.5 from 5.6 in October. So months of inventory will just determine your price. That's really what it's all about. So you go 4 is going to be starting to a balanced market. When you start to move up to the 5 to 6, especially above 6, you move into a strong buyer's market. So what happened with price? Well, if we look at October to November, your average price was down by 5.5%. So that's a substantial number, okay? I'm sure you would agree with that. So let's look at this. These are your micro markets. So of all of the sales that took place, 48% were detached. You can see here 17% were apartment, 5% attached, 7.5 semi, and 10% were row houses. So 50% of your market is detached properties. If you go to Toronto or Vancouver, this is substantially lower, and condo apartments are substantially higher because of affordability. So let's look at this. Our months of inventory in November was 5.5. Detached, we had 5.1, so it's a little lower, isn't it? Slightly stronger than total. Apartment 5.5, which is exactly the same, the total. But then we start moving into attached, semi, and row. This is where your inventory is rising. Look at 6.7, 6.9, 6.5. So what should be happening with these prices right here? They're weakening faster than these prices would be weakening. So let's look at this. If that's the case, we look over here, detached, okay? We look, it was 534 last year, it's 532 this year, okay? So that's the average. So it's down just a tad. Same thing here, apartments, okay, down just a tad. What happens here? Attached, down substantially. Do you see 394, 362? Semis, down substantially, 511 to 437. Okay, row housing, 317 to 306. So again, you have lower inventory here than you do here. Well, what happened with the prices? Prices didn't move quite as much. They just went down a little, where prices went down fairly substantially. Now this is really cool stuff that you could be using. Imagine if you start putting this into your listing presentations, buyer presentations, maybe you send an email blast out to everybody you know, you start posting this stuff in social media. When people see this, they become very intrigued. Remember, we're in a society today that is information rich, but it's insight poor. Don't be known for what it is you sell, be known for what it is you know. Okay, my last update this year, my next one won't be till January. In January, I'm only going to do the total year. I'm not going to do month to month, so it'll be a little bit different. We'll probably look back at a few years, actually, to see what's going on. But I want to say this. Have a wonderful holiday. Have a very Merry Christmas. I look forward to seeing you all in January. And at the end of the day, remember, everybody, it's a beautiful life, okay? Make it count.